People trying to say I'm only enemy. Got a code with my dogs, can't get in between. I can give them life, no more energy. Amen. Amen.
Welcome in, everybody. We got Will, JJ. We're back to give you guys some more analysis and some more picks. These type of videos did numbers during football season. We're bringing them back for the NBA playoffs as well. Today, we got the Knicks and Pistons game 2 and the Nuggets and Clippers game 2. It is April 21st. We're recording this at 2:54 p.m. Eastern time. JJ, how are we feeling a couple hours ahead of these games?
I'm feeling great. I'm very excited for these games to watch as a fan. And, I think we're reading these games pretty well.
Oh, 100%. We were excited coming in, and we're excited after game ones because we learned a lot. We were right about a lot, and we're going to be right about some more. So let's get things started. The first game of the night is the Knicks and Pistons. First game was a movie. It was a dogfight the entire time, and then the Knicks obviously went on a 21-0 run in the fourth. Started by Cameron Payne, surprisingly. So we'll started with that. The first thing I want to mention is Josh Hart had pretty big foul trouble in the first half. Second half, didn't get another foul, I don't think, or at least stayed out of foul trouble, and was a big part of that run that they made. Him speeding things up and giving Knicks control of the pace of that game, I think, was very huge. And the other thing I want to touch on the other side of the ball is Cade Cunningham had a rougher game, shot 8 of 21, only 23 points. But it was the Knicks' game plan to blitz him. They said as much after the game, and it was clear on the tape. They wanted to make anybody but Cade beat them, and for 3 quarters, that's what the Pistons did. But once the shots stopped falling in the fourth quarter, and Cade obviously has to shoot over 2-3 people if he wants to do anything, the Knicks' game plan kind of came to fruition. So they want to force the ball out of Cade Cunningham's hands as much as possible. And it starts with OJ Anunoby being the primary defender, which is not something we saw in the regular season. So those were my main takeaways from game 1. And kind of what I expect to carry over into game 2. Obviously, Josh Hart staying out of foul trouble, and I think the Knicks keep the same defensive game plan. JJ, is there anything that you're seeing differently?
Yeah, I don't think we're going to see much change. In the pick and roll, Cat over the season has played a lot of drop. This time, he played more at the level, and he's a lot more comfortable doing that with Cade because OG is a defender. So he's very good at navigating screens. And it doesn't leave Cat in a vulnerable spot, and he's able to rotate back to protect the rim as well. I think we're still going to continue to see a lot of that. I think probably for the Pistons, defensively, you're going to see a lot of Tobias on Cat. Smaller defenders, that's always been his weakness, continue to be his weakness. I think every now and then he can take advantage of it, like when the shot is falling, but it won't be from 3. Usually because when he feeds off the 3 ball, it's because of pick and pop, but they're not going to leave him open with Tobias Harris on him. And Tobias Harris usually steps up a little bit more on defense in the playoffs. So I think outside of that, everything else pretty like normal stuff that we've been seeing from the regular season.
Yeah, for the Pistons, it's going to have to be the role players, Malik Beasley, Tobias Harris, Oscar Thompson. It's going to have to be those guys. And for the Knicks, it's just going to be keep getting your guys in their spots. It seemed like the Pistons wanted to force Jalen Brunson into the mid-range and float area. But the issue is that's where Brunson wants to play. He doesn't want to pull up from 3. So if you go over a screen, it doesn't really matter. And obviously, easy layups are nice, but he's also the shortest guy on the floor. So I think he's gotten used to stopping and going into those floaters instead of getting easy layups at the rim. So you're kind of giving him what he wants and just hoping he has a bad shooting night. But Mikal Bridges, quiet night in game 1. And I don't expect too much more in game 2 just because as long as OG Anunoby's playing the way he does, Brunson's getting to his spots, Cat has the size mismatch. You don't need him to do as much. You spent the luxury of all the first-round picks on him is to be as versatile as possible. If you need Mikal Bridges, he can't. But you don't need him, so you don't necessarily have to go to him here. But those were the main takeaways, I think, from game 1. I think it's going to continue to be a dogfight throughout the series. I think they're going to keep blitzing Cade and making life as difficult for him as possible. So those were the main things we want to touch on for that game. Going to the next game, the Clippers and Nuggets. First overtime game of the playoffs was that one in game 1. Nuggets closed out 112-104 100 and went pretty much down to the wire. Russell Westbrook came up big in the clutch. Jokic did his Jokic thing. We saw a lot of Jokic and Murray pick and roll, and I think part of that is due, one, the new coach not having his own playbook as much. Two, if you're a new coach, why not lean into your two best players? So they really did spam the pick and roll more so than I saw them during the regular season, and I think they're going to keep doing that. I mean, why not go to Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic? The big thing that's I expect to change game to game is the Clippers switched a lot on the pick and rolls last game, so Chris Dunn and Zubac would switch on Murray and Jokic. You don't want to do that, and Zubac said as much so in a press conference after the game, or maybe it was yesterday. He basically said, we gave up the switches way too easily. He wants the Jokic matchup, and when he's defending Jokic, the Clippers don't really send much help. They let Zubac defend him straight up. So that should be very good for Jokic in terms of his scoring efficiency. But that pick and roll game from Denver was really the biggest thing that caught my eye in that matchup.
Yeah, me as well, because they didn't really do anything special. I think they probably continue to lean on it. It's something they've done the last couple of years in the playoffs with that two-man game. I mean, it's probably one of the most talked about things for that offense in general the last couple of years. But yeah, I think Clippers defense, we're going to see a lot less doubling on Jokic. 5 of his assists were threes, and 4 of those threes were because they pre-rotated or they doubled them. So I think we're going to see less of that. I'd rather give up a 2 from Jokic than a 3 from everybody else.
Yep.
I think Clippers offensively, they have to cut down the turnovers. 20 is just way too much.
Yep.
And that turned into 29 points off of turnovers. So I think Clippers, they can easily clean that up. So we're going to see a little bit less of that. I don't know who's going to be able to stop James Harden in this matchup, to be honest. We saw Christian Brown supposed to be on him. We talked about a game when I talked about as well. I didn't think he was going to be able to stop him. He was not able to stop him.
No.
I don't think there's nothing you'll be able to do with James Harden in this series. He's probably going to be pretty close to 30 points a game in this series, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
So I think Kawhi, from what it looked like in the press conference or like what the media talking yesterday, he wasn't that aggressive based on what Ty Lue said. He's just filling out the game, kind of like a boxer in rounds 1 and 2. He just kind of getting the feel. But now it looks like he's about to become more aggressive in game 2. So I definitely expect the Kawhi that we know in the playoffs to really be that guy in game 2.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen this from Kawhi time and time again in the playoffs. He has like a decent first game, nothing special. And is his knee bothering him? Or everybody always says some random stuff. And then game 3 comes around, or game 4, and he has like a 45-point game. And you're like, oh yeah, Kawhi in the playoffs. And then game 5, he somehow ends up hurt every year. But hopefully that doesn't happen this year. But yeah, kind of like JJ was saying, game 1 should be a feel-out game for him. He wasn't aggressive. It wasn't just something that they talked about directly. It was, funnily enough, the reporters were asking Zubac. They're like, hey, Zubac, Kawhi obviously wasn't that aggressive. What do you have to say? And Zubac's like, he didn't say this, but his response kind of indicated, what the hell does that have to do with me? He knows what he has to do. So I'm expecting Kawhi, kind of like you said, to step up a little bit more and be a little bit more aggressive, because when he's on, I mean, nobody can defend him. But, yep, that's everything. So let's get into the picks. And we're trying out a new format in this one. Since there's only 2 games today, we're going to pick one game pick, whether it's a spread or a money line. We're going to pick a points prop and then 1 rebounds and or assist prop. And today, this is what we're rocking with. We're starting things off with the Clippers -1.5, basically to win the game, but we got a little bit better odds at this line because, like we said, they hardly lost last game, and that was with Kawhi basically being absent the entire second half. And it's not like Norman Powell got a chance to step up and put up big numbers in his place. So if it takes an overtime game and like a last-minute turnover to take care of him and pack him up in game 1, I'm fine backing him here in game 2. And then we're taking Jokic 25-plus points. Like we said, less switching, more one-on-one defending for Zubac, and it should lead to less passing for Jokic. Obviously, his usage is going to be sky high no matter what. So if it's less passing, it's going to be more scoring. And lastly, we went with Cade Cunningham over 8.5 assists. We're expecting the Knicks to keep blitzing him. And as long as they keep blitzing him, He had 22, maybe 20 potential assists in game one. It was up there. It was up there. And we're
It was
expecting
20
to stay up
plus.
there.
Yeah.
Yep. So 8.5 assists is too low as long as that game plan continues. So put all that together. He's a 30% boost that FanDuel's giving out. We get plus 504. Go ahead and lock that in. Make sure you watch our previous video about just going over the entire game once for every series. And yeah, like, subscribe if you want us to keep doing videos like these. If you guys have any other suggestions just put them in the comments and let us know. And we appreciate you guys. Take care.